News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A Missoula firefighter has been killed while battling a blaze in the Lolo National Forest. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning, Thursday, July 20th, 2017. A few high clouds. Sun just coming up on a beautiful morning. A little smoky haze again. We have 62 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Dig It Excavating, bringing 30 years of excavation excellence to every job. Call 214-4292. Our top story this morning, we received a press release from Grayback Forestry out of Oregon that said, and I quote, "It is with sadness that Grayback Forestry confirms that on July 19th, yesterday, an employee was killed in the line while fighting forest fires in the Seeley Ranger District of the Lolo National Forest in Montana. The employee, 19 years old, a resident of Missoula, was part of a 20-person attack crew. He was struck by a falling tree. His name has not yet been released. More details will be made available at a press conference later today. A semi-truck struck and ran over a motorcyclist early yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Brooks and Reserve. The motorcyclist was conscious and breathing and was taken to the hospital with undetermined injuries after the accident. Missoula Police Department Public Information Officer Travis Welsh was on the scene and said several witnesses provided details on the incident that appeared to be a hit and run.
The accident was witnessed by several persons who also informed us that the semi-truck had actually continued southbound on Brook Street towards Lolo. Officers responded as well as EMS and City Fire, and the motorcyclist was quickly loaded up into an ambulance to transport to hospital. The semi-tractor was subsequently located in Lolo.
Welsh described the accident between the motorcyclist and the semi.
And actually swerved away from the semi, however, soon realized that there were vehicles in opposing lanes of traffic. At that point, that he swerved back towards the southbound lanes and got sandwiched in between the two vehicles when he went down. And it appears that tires from the trailer of the semi actually did roll over him.
The incident is under investigation by the Missoula Police Department and the Montana Motor Carrier Service. Following the decision handed down on Tuesday in favor of Missoula County Sheriff T.J. McDermott over former Captain Josh Clark, KGVO News spoke with the sheriff on a variety of subjects regarding the Human Rights Bureau decision. McDermott said he was pleased with that ruling.
We're very pleased with the results. This ruling by the Human Rights Commission affirms the decision of the hearings officer earlier in the year that, there was no discrimination and that the actions taken were within the law. So we're happy about that decision. It was a unanimous decision by the Human Rights Commission.
McDermott also confirmed that he would be seeking re-election in 2018.
I intend to seek re-election for sheriff. I'm very pleased and honored to be the sheriff here in Missoula. We've accomplished a lot of great things for the department in regards to increasing staffing levels for both deputies as well as detention officers.
On tomorrow's Montana Morning, McDermott will address the issue of overtime pay for his captains and senior staff raised in a recent article in the Missoulian newspaper. A teenager has been sentenced to probation and must pay restitution for an arson fire that caused $3 million in damage at a Montana high school. The Independent Record reports that the boy who was sentenced yesterday was 13 when he and two teenage girls started fires in a custodian closet and classroom in Helena High School back in November. The fire closed the entire school for 2 days and the damaged wing of the building for 3 months. The boy will be supervised until he turns 18. He and one of the girls have been ordered to pay the school district's $250,000 insurance deductible. The girls pleaded guilty in the case. One was sentenced to a secure chemical dependency treatment facility after she was caught stealing beer from a store. In April, the Montana legislature appropriated $2 million to help the Montana university system downsize and bring the number of professors in line with enrollment. The system focused on the University of Montana first and has offered buyout packages to tenured faculty age 65 and above, then a second round with offers to those age 60 and above. According to Montana University System spokesman Kevin McCrae, about 20 professors are expected to accept one of those two buyout offers.
Total expenditure will be about $800,000. So for those 20 faculty, it will spend about $800,000 of that $2 million but probably more importantly is it will remove about $1.6 million worth of annual salary obligation from the books.
The offer so far has been half of a year's salary for those who agree to retire. Soon, though, the regions will have to figure out what to do with the rest of that funding.
Whether we should go with a third round to look below the age of 60, or whether we should now start to look at other institutions that are similarly situated in Montana. And there are some, like Montana State University Billings could probably achieve some savings and have some conditions that are right for this kind of a program.
McRae said they'll have more information in about a week, and when the second round of buyout offers at UM wraps up. Another grizzly bear has shown up in a part of Montana that hasn't seen grizzlies in as long as a century. Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks officials said yesterday that a trail camera captured a picture of a 3.5-year-old grizzly in the Big Bald Mountains west of White Sulphur Springs in early June. Last month, 2 grizzlies were killed after preying on livestock near Stanford, east of Great Falls. There are approximately 1,000 bears in the northern Continental Divide grizzly population, classified as a threatened species. They are ranging farther east from the Rocky Mountain front in search of food as their numbers rebound. They're considered a separate population from the grizzlies living in the Yellowstone National Park area that are being removed from the endangered and threatened species list at the end of this month. 26-year-old Mark Palmer was sentenced in Missoula District Court Tuesday to 40 years in prison with 5 years suspended for negligent homicide and other charges related to the smothering death of a 5-month-old child. Deputy Missoula County Attorney Brian Lowney was the chief prosecutor in the case.
The negligent homicide charge encompasses his smothering of a 5-month-old child during the middle of the night of March 30th of 2016. While the child was crying, the child died as a result of his smothering the child.
Lowney described the sentence handed down by District Judge James Wheelis.
He was sentenced to a total of 40 years in prison with 5 of those suspended. Effectively what that means is that he has a 35-year prison sentence with a 5-year probationary tail on the end of it. He was given 20 years on the negligent homicide charge, which is the maximum penalty allowable, 10 years on the tampering charge.
When he was 15, Palmer was sentenced for child sexual abuse. Palmer's criminal history in Washington state was discussed during the sentencing hearing, but Lowney could not say if it was an actual factor in the sentencing. Finally, congressional Republicans are moving forward with legislation to roll back the aforementioned Endangered Species Act amid complaints that the 44-year-old law hinders drilling, logging, and other activities. House and Senate committees were holding simultaneous hearings yesterday on bills to revise the law and limit lengthy and costly litigation associated with it. The bills come as a federal court lifted federal protections for gray wolves in Wyoming, and the Trump administration is removing protections for grizzly bears, we just mentioned, in and near Yellowstone Park. House Natural Resources Committee Chairman Rob Bishop said the bills would curb excessive litigation and allow officials to focus on actual species conservation. Representative Paul Graballa, the panel's senior Democrat, though, said the endangered species law, quote, does not need congressional meddling to work better. What it needs is congressional support, end quote. Our News Talk time now, 6:13.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Ample sunshine today with our high temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. Winds will be out of the west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. We could see wind gusts between 20 and 30. Tonight, clear skies, lows in the 50s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster, KECI 13.